I run the operations here at SourcePad. This is our office. I think many of you have probably been here before. We do mostly Rails, iOS, and Android. That's pretty much what we focus on. But my introduction, I saw, I was like, well, what is everyone going to talk about? What would be helpful? And so I think or some of you here might be freelance. You might have worked with clients in the past. I happen to be from the US. So I know how jerky US people can be sometimes, and how demanding and complicated to work with. So I thought I would just do like a 2-minuter on something that we use here that has made it a lot more helpful to work with US and North American and European clients that are a little bit, they're demanding. I think that's the right word. So, and this is just super quick, but I thought in case this is helpful, it's something to take home with you. Oops. Well, I just made this slideshow right here. This is actually from another slideshow, so don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. So what we talk about here is just being RAD with our clients. And obviously you have something that's a little tongue-in-cheek is good. But what RAD is being realistic, articulating, and delivering. So basically, if we're being realistic about the complexity of what we're doing, if we articulate the complexity of what we're doing, and if we deliver, we're okay. So just to walk you through here. So being realistic, we always will have to estimate. I've read over and over and seen, so it's impossible to estimate, right? It's impossible to know the complexity. But if you're realistic in your assessment, nothing is ever as simple as you think. That's just the nature of the beast. If you think something will take an hour, it will probably take 2 or 4 hours. If you think something will take a day, it'll take 2 or 4 days, right? If you use that kind of thinking, it's better. So be realistic and just try to understand that probably your estimation in your mind is a little bit short. And then also try to think through the complexity. You know, when you say, oh, this should take about an hour or 2, then take a step back and say, what could go wrong? So if you think about the complexity, that also helps you assess. We've had tons and tons of conversations over a long period of time here at SourcePad, and there have been many opportunities, or many times where we sit down and we're like, yeah, it should be about an hour or 2, and then we start to work backwards, and we come out to 3 to 4 days worth of development as a group, right? And so if you have the opportunity to be with a group and sit down and think through that, you will see faults in your own personal thinking, but at the same time, just taking a step back and thinking through the complexity helps you be more realistic and in general. And then articulating, what is really difficult when working with clients is if clients are like, oh, can you just change how sign-in happens? I don't want them to have to click on accept via email anymore. You know, they're like, what is that, like 15, 20 minutes of work, you know? And that's kind of what they're thinking, right? So what we try to do here is just articulate the complexity, right? So we don't say, yes, we can do that, right? Because there's a disconnect between the two. So we'll say, yeah, that can be done, but we've structured the architecture now so that when someone signs up, they receive an email, they go to a new page, they see on that page they need to, you know, so you go through the whole process, and then the client says, oh wow, that's a lot of work. And we're like, yes. And they're like, well, let's do it anyway. And we're like, okay, let's do it. But we'd rather have you make up your mind before we build it. That's the idea. So articulate that complexity to the client, and that's very helpful for a healthy client relationship. Then the other thing that we always try to do is just deliver what you promise, right? So once you've been realistic, once you've articulated the complexity, then you need to try to deliver on what you said. And if you promise something, try to deliver on that. We call things here OPUDs, which is an over-promise, under-deliver, and that's never a good thing. It'd be better to under-promise than over-deliver, right? So you say, wow, that is complex, that's going to take me a whole day. And then if 3 or 4 hours later, you're a wizard and you get it done, and you let them know, I've never heard anyone disappointed that you finished something early. So try to deliver what you promise. And that's it. So let's try to be brief here, but that is something we talk about a lot here, and we'll ask each other, like, were you rad today? You know, was that a rad day or a bad day? And that helps us just remember to do those 3 things. So that's all I got. Thank you very much. And I think you planned that, I can tell. So the first presenter, all right.